I would like.
I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah,
I can always like leave it as a message for the kids. I could put the name on it.
Oh, it's recorded.
Oh, no.
Can everyone please rise for the pledge of allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Weiss? Antonio?
Here.
Mrs. Alvarado? Here. Mrs. Reed?
Here.
Mr. Levena? Dr. Bosco?
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to start off approving the minutes of previous meetings. I need a motion to approve the minutes for the business meeting of June 16th. Can I have a motion? Mrs. Mamalito, can I have a second? Mr. Tomio? Questions or comments? All in favor? Abstentions? That's 3-1. We're going to table the June 20th and June 21st minutes, and we'll go right to the business meeting of August 25th. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of August 25th? Mrs. Weiss, can I have a second? Mr. Tomio, questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Abstentions? 3-1. Mrs. Reed? Yeah, table both, the 21st,
Yes.
and then one abstention, myself,
Yes.
for the 25th. And how about the special meeting September 8th? Can I have a motion to approve those minutes? Mrs. Mamalito, seconded by Mrs. Weiss. Questions or comments? All in favor? 4-0. And now I'll hand it over to Dr. Bassett.
Thank you very much. And for those of you viewing from home, thank you for joining us. For those of you who have joined us tonight, welcome. At our next public meeting, I would anticipate we will have microphones in place. I know we've just recently relocated to this much more comfortable setting for our meetings. So we have those on order, and those of you listening from home will have an easier time after the AV equipment is complete. So thank you for joining us. This is the portion of the agenda where we, as a board, recognize some outstanding contributions to the school district in the form of commendations. And to assist us with that tonight, I'd like to call upon our Boyd Elementary Principal, Dr. Denise Tisano.
Good evening. It gives me great pleasure to present Sharon Dawson for recognition. She has gone above and beyond her job duties. All of us had this vision of making Boyd a welcoming, bright, happy environment, and she helped us lead that. So I'm not going to talk too much. I'm just going to show you the pictures. Can you see them in this light?
Would you like us to turn the lights?
Yes.
Mrs. Hanley, would you turn the lights out? Thanks.
So Ms. Gossman painstakingly calligraphy our philosophy statement as you welcoming the children, letting them know that they are here, they are loved, and we're going to learn together. She's famous for our bulletin boards, and every year she does something magnificent, and she changes it throughout the seasons. And it has all of the teachers included, so they felt welcome when they came back. She knows I love Winnie the Pooh, so she did make me this bulletin board, which I think it's one of the best quotes ever, so the kids all see this when they come in. She wants to remind the teachers and the students that it's good to be happy, so of course she designed this. But the real thing she designed that blew our mind was our faculty lounge. We really wanted teachers to feel valued, we wanted them to place during the day to go and rejuvenate to go back to class. So this is the way it looked before, and here's how it looks now. So not only did she do the bulletin boards, but if you see all of that furniture had to be sanded and painted. And she did all of that, all of the decorations up there. She did such a beautiful job, and I think as a staff, we are so appreciative. She even upholstered the chair. And I didn't get that, so I was thinking, I'm like, wow, she even upholstered the chair and painted it. So down to every last detail. And then in our office, she started the staff shout-outs. So as we come in the morning, we have cards that we can write special things about our staff and put it up to build morale. And all I can say is, thank you. In addition, I kind of volunteered her to do the welcome back for Regent Sills, and she was honored, and it came out beautiful. So, Sharon, thank you so much for going above and beyond. I mean, I know we as a staff will appreciate it, but I'm sure the Board of Education also does as well.
Would you mind closing our website?
Say something. Sharon, I've been working with you for years as a parent in the district, the head of Booster Club and PTA and those things, and you've always been a pleasure to work with. You've always gone above and beyond, and we're so grateful. What you did for the staff is amazing. That faculty room was like
And those
little
pictures
trees
don't do it
desired.
justice.
Don't do it
Don't do it justice.
We went there for staff appreciation. It's warm, it's inviting. You made an amazing space for everybody, and it's a pleasure.
Time, and I worked with Floyd, and this wasn't mentioned, but Sharon also coordinates to-go orders for the staff. Everything's printed out, people in the room will tell you that, so she's been taking care of people for a long, long time, so.
Really appreciate that.
It's very
Now, it is my understanding that we also have a very special young man with us tonight.
Yes, we do.
Let's hear about that.
Mr. Jimmy Rourke, come on up. But he won an award in 5th grade, and when I tried to honor him, he had baseball, right? Traveling baseball, I said, I totally understand. But I still wanted to make sure that we all know. I'm honored to present James Rourke to the Board of Education for recognition on earning 3rd place in the Town of Huntington Youth Borough Lighting Project. We were unable to recognize him last year. Mr. Rourke is an amazing young man that is mature beyond his age. He wrote his essay describing a trip to give tour toys in the Philippines, which he did for a couple of years. His eloquent use of words presented a vision that was so clear. However, it is the lesson that he learned that makes him a wonderful person and strong. I'd like to read an excerpt from his essay. When I was young, I always thought that everything had perfect or near perfect lives. I thought that everyone had an equal amount of power in modern society. At that time, I wasn't able to fully comprehend the problems of people in third world countries. Many people in poverty-stricken countries and areas such as parts of the Philippines do not have basic human rights. The problems and obstacles faced by a large percentage of our world's population are incredible and bewildering. When I was young, I was oblivious when I was young to the problems faced by hundreds of millions of people on our planet. Third world countries need to address the obstacles that they face. We need to make changes by showing people the heart-crushing effects of poverty in third world countries. When I reflect on my visits to Tondo Garbage Dump, I know now the emptiness in my stomach was not the hunger for food, but the hunger to make our world a better place. You are one special young people, and I'm very lucky to have you.
James, we have a certificate recognizing you. And I have to tell you, very impressed with the one you shared and the thoughts that you conveyed. Very, very well. So this is for you, and would you mind posing for a picture that'll be on our website?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, Mrs. Weiss, would you like to take the donations for this evening?
Yes. It is with great anticipation that the Board of Ed expects to receive the following donations. The first is from James H. Boyd of Juliet School PTA. The donation in the amount of $4,818.05 to fund the cultural arts program. And the second one is from the Elwood Booster Club, a donation of $6,300 to fund various clubs, such as the math clubs, the robotics club, and the ESL homework club at the Elwood Middle School. We thank you guys. Without these donations, you've enriched our children's lives, and we thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob. I think it is a wonderful tradition of the Elwood School District that there is a portion of the board meeting that's dedicated to the all-school president of the high school, giving an update to the board about the ongoings within the district. We're fortunate enough to have with us tonight a very well-dressed young man, Matthew Weiss, who at this time would like to provide the board with an update. Wherever you're comfortable.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Weiss, and I'm the all-school president at John Glenn High School. I am excited to inform you about the activities that have been going on in the high school. Even before school started, the band and athletic department were working hard for the start of the new school year. New and old band members attended several practices and a week of band camp to work for the first homecoming game. If you ever want a good laugh, come down to the track to watch the soccer team struggle to run several miles. All fall sports teams started their seasons 2 weeks before the first day of school. Additionally, the new Freshman Buddy Mentor Program came on August 12th for training and again on orientation to assist in the day's activities. All this was to help new freshmen acclimate to the new environment. On the first day of school, students arrived nice and early for the start of the new school year. There to greet the students was Dr. Boston, Mrs. B, Mr. Coley, Mr. Coletti, and Mr. Shanahan. Freshman buddy mentors were also there to greet the students as they arrived in the school and help them navigate through the new school. Despite the long, hot 7-hour day, students were filled with anticipation of meeting new teachers and what the year had to hold. So the school year had already been filled with lots of activities. Parents came out for college information night on September 13th. Counselors provided a lot of information about the college process, and then parents followed their child's schedule for Meet the Teacher night. The night was like a typical high school day. Parents were late to classes, They were texting in class, and they were sitting with their friends at lunch. Students also, on the first day of school, made sure they dressed to impress on picture day. I think the best thing as a senior is watching all the freshmen and sophomores dress up in their nice clothes on a 90-degree day and they're sweating. On the field of John Glenn High School, we have also seen great success. The football team, the boys soccer team, volleyball team, cross-country team, and golf are hard at work and determined to win several county titles. Also, some athletes have also been featured in Newsday for the football team and the soccer team. Needless to say, we are off to a busy start. Some upcoming events to look forward to are this high school financial night on 9/29, the Newsday Band Festival, and of course, progress reports for quarter one. Thank you and have a great night.
Typically, some students shy away from public speaking because you've done a natural jump. We look forward to hearing from you throughout the year, and thank you so much for the effort.
Thank you.
I understand you may have some homework assignments. If you are exiting, would you please invite the board faculty to exit with you as they have a very early morning tomorrow? James, when you get home, text me to score the digit. There you go.
Okay, so I think we're up to first resident remarks. The Board of Education encourages all residents to attend its meetings, and this section of the agenda affords them the opportunity to speak. Persons wishing to speak should identify themselves and any organization they represent at the meeting. Comment should be kept as brief as possible and may not exceed 3 minutes. Public discussion of matters relating to staff, students, or others at which their reputations, privacy, or right to due process could in some way be violated is prohibited. Does anyone have a 3-minute timer? You got it?
I'll keep it.
Any remarks? Anyone want to come to the podium? Say it 30 minutes. We'll warn you about 30 seconds.
Oh, that's okay, I won't take it.
Okay.
My name is Amory Savage, I'm a parent of twins at Harley Ann, second graders. I'd like to request that the board put forth a formal position on the Mediaville Orchard project. It's a critical issue for our school district as we are financially stressed. For the first time, we have an opportunity to have commercial taxes offset homeowner tax increases. The developer has reached out to the board several times to meet and discuss the proposal, but has never heard back from them. I've attended meetings this summer with the developer, and he's more than willing to meet with the board to discuss how he can help the school district, including even donating land for the Elwood Library. The proposed tax revenue for this project is $3 million, and no additional students for the district. If this proposal does not pass, a mixed-use proposal with housing will most certainly be proposed, which would destroy our district financially. I strongly urge the board to meet with the developer and publicly support this project with the Elwood and the greater Huntington community to ensure that it does pass. As I, along with many other people, strongly doubt that we will have this type of opportunity for commercial tax revenue without having additional students join our schools again.
Thank you, Mrs. Savage. Anyone else for president remarks? Seeing that,
Thank you. I have a very brief presentation planned for this evening, as this is a topic that was focused on at our workshop earlier in the month. For those members of the community present, I will share that on 2 separate occasions during the during the summer. I'll take the presentation. The board engaged in retreat nights, where they spent a lengthy period of time with me. The first session in early July, we went through lots of organizational issues, what their expectations were of me of them, how we were going to work and collaborate for the organization. The second meeting focused almost solely on focus and vision for this year and the years beyond for the school district. and a portion of that discussion centered on developing targeted goals that would be both short and long term for our focus over the next several years. So after some significant discussion and lots of wordsmithing, tonight we're presenting these goals to be adopted by the Board of Education as our goals for the 16-17 school year, and we'll talk a little bit about what that means. The first goal was titled Extraordinary Student Focus, and I'll read it aloud for those who are viewing from home. We pledge to maximize the holistic instructional experience and achievement for each student. This will be accomplished through multifaceted, data-informed instruction derived through multiple measures designed to meet the varied needs of individual learners. This includes a commitment to the depth and breadth of instructional and co-curricular programming, resulting in a shared and demonstrable belief that Elwood is one of the finest school districts in the state and nation. In simple English, we want to make sure that all of our students reach their own maximum potential. So we talk about ways that we're going to focus our efforts to make sure that every student is given every opportunity to achieve. The second goal is innovative learning practices. We pledge ourselves to the best, most innovative learning practices demonstrated by a commitment to literacy development across the curriculum based on students' performance and continued integration of digital enhancement to affect learning. We will support these practices through the use of Board of Education approved professional plan, one that is designed to support the growth and success of our educators, aligned with the overall goals and objectives for development. This is a two-pronged approach. It speaks both to the digital enhancements, technology integration that will take place within our classrooms, as well as the training we'll provide our faculty and staff to support it. And there's an emphasis on that. Mrs. Hull will be chairing the district's professional development committee. That's not something that has been a general practice here. It's a new establishment, and it'll be a collection of both faculty members and staff members to speak about what the priorities are for this school year, to make sure that teachers and their support staff have the skill sets necessary to help our students reach goal number 1. 2 other goals. Third goal is sustainable physical health. We commit ourselves to the development of stronger and deeper level of physical health to meet the needs of our students and the broader community of supporting taxpayers. We pledge use of best practice, short and long-term planning to mitigate financial uncertainty, along with the adoption of prudent means to maintain safe and environmentally sound school facilities. We need to stop looking, not that this has happened before, it would be wrong to look at our budget on a year-to-year basis. We need to have long-term focus on sustained fiscal health. So when we do our budget planning this year, we'll be having conversations not just about the impact on the coming school year, but years to come. There's another statement that speaks to the safe and maintenance of our school facilities. I don't think it will come as any surprise to any residents that the Facilities Committee this year will be focusing a good deal of effort on the potential of a capital bond for our community. Our buildings are in a position where there are necessary repairs for health and safety that cannot be included in the district budget and in the tax levy climate. So there'll be significant discussions within the Facilities Committee and within the board meetings about the potential need for a capital bond. Our last, consistent community engagement. We will collaborate and refine district resources to create highest order information accessibility and information exchange with students, parents, staff, and community members, leading to measurable growth and improvement in community perception of and involvement in our school district and user interaction with our resources. Some of these will be very concrete, tangible things, like I look forward to the board seeing our newly developed website that our partners at Syntax are helping us to unveil. That'll happen prior to the holidays. We are hopeful. It's currently being designed. You already saw the new electric sign at the entrance to John Glenn, so some of them are very tangible, and some are just practices to make sure that everyone is receiving consistent messages and receiving effective communication from the district. For the board and for the community present, we need to make sure that we have accurate contact information from all of our residents because we are using our digital resources to make sure messages are sent. There was an emergency yesterday. I felt it responsible to notify the community. I sent an email when I knew the facts that needed to be delivered. We get a report back to indicate what percentage of the 2,550 recipients received the message effectively. Yesterday, we were at about 95%. Today, that would be close to 100 because we were able to use that data, and Mrs. Mancini and Mr. Trampino went in and made the adjustments to make sure the next message would receive a higher level of recipients. So it'll be practices, it'll be tangible equipment, and hopefully that'll lead to effective community engagement. So what will we do with these goals? Aside from talking about them, aside from focusing presentations at the board meeting about how does this help us to achieve our goals, there will be work done by the administrative team and the instructional team. Now that those were, or we anticipate those goals being adopted by the board tonight, then they will be shared with the administrative team, and they will create focused action plans of things that will take place within the buildings, in the departments, in the classroom to help meet those goals. They will set targets and create data points to say, if a goal relates to increasing literacy levels at the elementary school, we can say that our current first grade literacy scores are at 75% proficient. Our goal for this year is to get to 85%. And then we also have to create evaluating tools and ways to assess how we are achieving that goal as the year is progressing and at the end of the year as a summary. And at the end of the year, I would anticipate at a meeting much like this, myself and members of the administrative team will give a public presentation to the board and community of how well we feel we did reaching goals. Now I will let you know that I'm letting the administrators know to make sure their goals are aspirational. So I don't anticipate that we will achieve every goal we set for this year. But this is a multi-year plan. This is something that will be consistent, and we want to make sure that we are setting very high targets for our students, faculty, and staff. You'll be hearing a lot about a focused future. We are trying to make sure that this is the message that's sent to our community. So when people think about the Elwood School District, they think about us having our minds not on just what's happening today, but what's happening down the road, what's happening years from now. So that we are preparing our students for graduation, as we are preparing them for kindergarten, and everything in between. And we talk about physical health, the instructional health, and everything else. So when you see my hashtag focused future, get used to it. Any questions from the board about the goals or the action plans to follow?
I think we talked a lot about them in that last business meeting, and they came out of a retreat that we had during the summer, so I'm excited for them. I'm looking forward to seeing the action plan.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for both your support of the goals and all the input that you gave that led to these goals being developed. The wordsmithing that took place from when the goals were originally drafted to what were presented tonight is very different, and it's due to your input, which is greatly appreciated. Thank you. And Mrs. Street, if you would entertain a motion, if the board would like to accept these goals, that would be wonderful.
Can I please have a motion? I know.
Is that a motion or is that a slot?
Do we need this? Can I have a motion to accept the goals as presented by Dr. Foster this evening? Motion by Mr. Tomio, second by Mrs. Memolito. All in favor? 4-0. Thank you.
Want me to move on to discussion items?
Please.
So I just have one discussion item for you this evening. This is a chart which is clearly marked draft with a purpose. This is for your review and your input. There's only one decision that needs to be made tonight, and then I would ask you to evaluate this when you best see fit and get back to me with your feedback. But what this is it outlines each of our business meetings and and our schedules for the year of accommodations. Mrs. Izzo, thank you.
Thank you.
So, as you see, we've already covered the September 8th work session, and tonight you would see that September 22nd, the presentation was regarding goals finalization. So what we tried to do was map out a schedule of presentations so that we'd be touching upon work taking place in each of our buildings and various departments. So you would see things that represent the elementary schools, middle school, and high school. But we're also leaving flexibility for the unknown. We're certain that as we do our evaluations of our systems and organizations and what's happening in the classrooms, items will arise that we will probably want to focus on within public board meetings. So we've left some intentional flexibility within the schedule. There are some definitive items that are required by law. There are some definitive items required by policy and practice. So if we just look at the next few meetings, you'll see that the recommendation here is to spend the October 6th work session meeting with the auditor. That's an executive session item as required. But then what I would like to present publicly and to public discussion, and for board participation, I might add, is a review of the Knights of the Round Table program that's been introduced here at the middle school. And Dr. Giganti and some members of his faculty will not only explain.
So that's after the sixth?
Yes.
Okay.
Our next workshop.
Mhm.
Dr. Giganti and his faculty would not only explain what's happening in the classrooms, he would even ask the faculty to demonstrate some of the team building activities that are happening with the students that the board may want to participate in. So we'd have a two-pronged approach to the next work session. That's the only one we need to definitively decide on tonight. So is the board comfortable with spending a work session learning more about that middle school program?
So, the October sixth one here, it says update on literacy, Harley and
Oh, I'm
Boyd
sorry,
and this
you have
one.
no comment.
Oh, okay.
We,
Perfect. Oh, okay, gotcha.
I have updated regarding rising harm.
Okay.
I gave one to Mrs. Reed yesterday when we said
Oh,
that,
okay.
and I changed it, didn't tell her.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes, so we'd spend the next meeting speaking about the Knights of the Round Table and engaging in that conversation, which would follow the executive session meeting as required with the auditors, which, by the way, is then repeated in public on October 28th at the business meeting. Mrs. Loughlin has placed several of these items on the agenda to be in alignment with the requirements for budget presentation and budget workshops, so you'll see those appear. Other items were through conversations I've had with Mrs. Hall, Mrs. Wilkinson, and Mr. Trampino. So we will continue to explore things that we feel both the board and the community would be most interested in hearing about. So after you take this home and you've had some time to evaluate it, if there's something that you would like us to cover at one of these meetings, please pose it as a suggestion and I bring it back to the full board for a consensus. Okay. But is everybody good with the October 6th work session I suggested? Then we will plan accordingly. Thank you very much. There's also one other item relating to that I forgot to distribute earlier. This is the working schedule of committees and subcommittees as currently drafted. I'm meeting with the board co-chairs for the legislative committee next week, and we'll be able to run that plan. And then we'll work on the safety committee, and then we'll have a full schedule of all of our board subcommittees for the year.
Dr. Bassett, I have a quick question. With the schedule of board meetings and the subjects that you're covering, if we look at this and give you feedback, and then you kind of have an idea of the rest of the year, what you'll be covering in what meeting, barring any emergency kind of thing that you have, would this be posted in advance so that people could look and say, oh, I'm interested in this or that, and then attend that meeting, or make sure they watch it?
That is the intent, yes. But I will post it with a note indicating that it's fluid, that
Okay.
there may be circumstances throughout the year that cause us to change the schedule. But yes, after the board lets me know they're comfortable with what we've drafted, I will have it posted.
And this way people could plan whatever things that they're interested in, and
As we will do the same with the focus subcommittee meetings. We will post the agenda in advance of the meeting, so if people have interest in attending those meetings, they'll know what is to be discussed.
Are we also going to post where we're going to be in the agenda?
This agenda that's before you tonight is, I understand, standard practice here that I'm very comfortable
So
continuing.
you'll incorporate that in the standard.
So the presentation portion will always come at a similar
Okay,
time.
so you're going to put that in the presentation.
Yeah. Speaking of which, and thank you for mentioning posting, Mr. Tranky, if you would, now that the goals have been established, you mentioned we have the resources within the district to have them blown up poster size and placed in visible spaces in each of our school buildings. Thank you very much. And we will send them electronically to all of our faculty and staff so they know exactly what our targets are.
Dr. Barson, I appreciate the organization and the clarity that we'll be able to provide for the community now so that they can be available and know far ahead of time, what's coming down the pipeline and, give them more opportunity to be able to attend these meetings. So I thank you.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Thank you. Any other questions about this schedule? Great. Okay.
So, I think we'll be able to take the financial matters and the action items, all together. Does anyone object to that? So can I have a motion to approve financial matters K1 and 2 and action items 1 through 7? And that would include the addendum number 1 that we received to the personnel agenda today. Can I have a motion? Mrs. Weiss, second. Mr. Tamio, questions or comments? I just have a quick question or a clarification from Dr. Glasser. Could you just explain the lead teacher science program at Boyd?
Certainly.
It's a stipend in there.
As was mentioned at a prior business meeting of the board, one of our Boyd teachers who actually just left, Renee Spanos, was successful in achieving a very large grant from the Association for Curriculum Development, ASCD. And part of that grant calls for science materials kits to be implemented in grades K through 5 in both Harley and Boyd. One of the things that she wrote into the grant was that in this implementation year, we need teachers to take on the task of explaining the materials, handing out the materials, organizing purchases as they came in, so that on tonight's board agenda there is a resolution to compensate those lead teachers using the grant funding for this year and this year only.
So it's granted money, but it's not a guaranteed money that goes forward.
It is a one-year appointment because the program is designed to have an implementation year, which requires some additional work and training that the lead teachers will assist us with. It is my expectation that after this year of training, our teachers will be very competent in moving forward without a lead in place.
And then could you just explain the math clubs at Harley and Boyd and the stipends for those versus a math club at the middle school, just like?
The math clubs at Harley and Boyd are being sponsored by the Elwood Booster Club. We compensate the teacher that's being appointed the stipend. Those funds, however, are collected through student tuition by the Booster Club and then donated to the district to reimburse the expenses that we paid on.
Okay, so that's not in addition to our budget from last year, that's something for the Booster Club.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, So the question, is there a differentiation between a middle school math club and the Harley and Boyd? I believe there's a tuition difference there, correct? I believe that there's not, I don't believe that the children pay tuition for a math
Because the
club.
Booster Club is sponsoring the two lower clubs, they're,
Crazy Eights.
Crazy Eights is an outside company coming in also to assist our staff in that program. There's a modified, entire program for them to follow, whereas the math clubs here in the middle school are middle school run
Clubs, right, okay. So there's no tuition for those children.
Correct. And that is within the budget, the general budget.
Right. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? 4-0.
May I comment?
Oh,
There are several candidates who I met with over the last 2 weeks whose names are on the board agenda for appointment tonight, who I directed to watch via the live stream at home. So I will speak to those people directly and say, welcome to the Elwood family. You're officially on board.
I think we're up to second resident remarks. So I'll do the spiel again. Residents are limited to items voted on and or discussed at the business meeting. Persons wishing to speak should identify themselves and any organization which they represent at the meeting. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and may not exceed 3 minutes. Public discussion of matters relating to staff, students, or others by which their reputation, privacy, or right to due process could in some way be violated is prohibited. Anybody up for second resident remarks? Seeing none, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Mr. Damian, second by Mrs. Weiss, all in favor? 4-0.